Yeah, welcome back. Steve Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. And joining me this evening is Airport Temple. Good evening to you, Temple, and welcome to the show.
It's a beautiful evening. Always a pleasure to be here.
All right, let's quickly take a look at, some of the exciting news, coming from the beautiful world of sports this moment. And let's, of course, start with athletics before we talk about the African Cup of Nations. I know we talked about this earlier on the show, but it's of course a very, very huge one, in athletics down here in Nigeria, where we will see, of course, athletics, taking a new shape in the country. We heard that the Athletics Federation of Nigeria has fired a decisive shot at age falsification and poor athlete data management with the launch of a groundbreaking partnership with Roster Athletics under the leadership of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria President Chief Tinubu Kokoa. The Federation announced the collaboration as a major turning point aimed at restoring credibility, transparency, and global confidence in Nigerian athletics. This is a huge one, Temple. I don't know what you make of this. When I saw this, I was very much excited. If only the Athletics Federation of Nigeria will follow due process, to make this, of course, happen. But how do you see this helping athletics in Nigeria?
I think it's good. It's good, even if I'm a little bit skeptical these days when I hear things like this, because sometimes the process of formulating these policies can be very laudable. Implementation becomes a thing of the past. Recall, okay, you may ask, why this feeling from me? Recall when they came with the issue of NIM and the NIM system that will eradicate everything. They made it so big, expenditures were procurement of equipment and all that, things were done. We felt that, okay, this will finally salvage the issue of the challenge developing data management system in the country. But unfortunately, fast forward to 2025 December, when this deal was struck now, that tells you that a lot of challenges, that system had not worked. But then, if they finally partnered with a data company that will manage the athletes' data and ensure that the issue of date is reconciled, the issue of the activities are being tracked, fine and good. But then another person will tell you that it's just beyond words. We want to see the system. How would this be implementable? If we get to see that, that would be beautiful.
Let's see how this one, of course, will go there, and we hope that the Athletics Federation of Nigeria will make sure that this come to fruition, because there's a whole lot, have been happening in the, athletic world down here in Nigeria, where athletes, of course, have to put up a fourth age, in order to participate in competition. At the end of the day, it do not bring fairness, to competition. Now, Chief Tinubu Okowa described the move as a bold step to protect athletes and silent critics. Every registered athlete will now carry a unique Athletics Federation of Nigeria license number throughout their career, renewed annually and fully integrated into international athletics databases. The new system guarantees permanent athlete identification, transparent age documentation, complete career tracking, and zero room for identity manipulation. Now, with training and support already in place, Athletics Federation of Nigeria says all affiliated bodies can begin using the platform immediately, signaling the start of a new chapter defined by integrity, modernization, and accountability in Nigerian athletics. But the question is, how sustainable would this be, Temple? Because Okowa will not be the president of the federation forever, or possibly see another person, coming up to take the helm of affairs in athletics down here in the country. So what do you make of the sustainability of this one?
That's why the challenge is. It's one thing to have a well-planned and structured data system. It's another to have it, sustained. Now, we're going to look. We need to know the memorandum of understanding. If we get to see that, that will be fantastic. That will be nice. So for me, it's what I'm looking out for. But then we need to see the machineries. We need to see the approach for the sustenance of this project. If from now till in the next 6 months we can see our athletes enrolled, what about the states? How do they partner with the state to see that the athletes in the states are enrolled? What about the teen athletes? You know, this thing can take the whole of this year, but then we want to see the progress. Zonal basis, south, what are they doing? Where are they going to meet? Are they coming from state to state? We need to see a lot of technicalities. If we get to see the way the kickoff of this particular project, then we can also nurture the desire that it will be sustained.
All right, let's see how it goes. We look forward to see how sustainable this will be, because of course we understand somehow when things like this are being brought to the table, sustainability is always an issue. We'll see if the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, can sustain this, for a very, very long time. But away from that, it's time to bring you the latest from the African Cup of Nations. And we'll start with the game that is currently ongoing. That's the game between Senegal and Egypt, as it's time. But before we take a look at the encounter, tempo, it is the semi-final stage of the 2025 African Cup of Nations. What do you make of the competition so far?
It's been lovely. We've seen a lot of goals. I think after the first phase, we saw a total number of 29 goals scored in the first under the first round of games, and from then the goals were just pumping in. It becomes very difficult to really calculate, and I think we've had a lot of goals. We've had like 100 plus goals now, and that tells you that it's I mean, goals is the beauty of every competition, and when it comes to Africa, we have not dampened that standard. We have always tried to go higher. In terms of organization, I think this is one of the most exciting African competitions I've seen. Where even the CAF president comes to watch game. We consistently see him watching live games almost every day. I've not seen that in the history of the African competitions. The man creates special time because this is his own thing, to watch. And I tell you, that's because it's he invites other guests from other countries to come and watch with him, and it tells you that, come on, Africa is growing. Look at the fan base. In almost all the games, you will not see empty stadiums. I've never seen an empty stadium where you look at one part and say, yeah, we have seen some in the group stages, no doubt, but not as empty as, because nations now realize that, come on, we need to also send our fans advance, to be there. So they come out to come and watch. Some people take this period as a tourism period for them, where they go and spend time in the country, explore the country, and enjoy every bit. So it's been for me, it's been a lovely time. And then Morocco too have really shown the world that, come on, if we can host this, we can also host the World Cup. That's what it means. And I don't think that there's any debate about the strength of Morocco in achieving all of this. So the African Cup of Nations have been very glorious. And for me too, unlike other years, we have not seen the minnows come to the party. There have not been any penalty shootout in the knockout stages of the African competitions. That tells you how teams are determined, and it's no magic that we got to see the big boys in the last four of this competition. So it's got a building momentum, and I think it's a wake-up call to others who missed out, like Ghana, Cape Verde. They want to do everything possible to come back too. And then this has also shown that there are loopholes in teams like Cameroon. A lot of work needed to be done because the inconsistencies is just too much. And not to also take nothing for granted. Before now, when you see DR Congo, you see more of TP Mazambi players, but these days, almost all the players play the trade in Europe. So you see, the affairs with the cross-fertilization with the Western world has really changed the narrative of what is happening. Very soon, African Cup of Nations will see more of the teams playing the trade all in Europe. And that's because Westernization has come to be. And if you must get to the level of prominence, you must. They've gone are the days where you see Egyptian team packing their players in Africa and getting to win the African competitions. That will be very difficult this time around because digitalization, cross-fertilization with the Western world has really shown a lot. And science in sports too is clearly, look at the pitch. Look at how the players in Europe, utilizes that pitch as compared to other times. So all of this shows that there's a golfing class when it comes to the showcase of the African Cup of Nations. And this year, it truly lived up to his expectation. I just think that more can be done. More can be done. The match timing, we can work on it, but then in all of them, we can't get it perfect. But I still believe that if you look at rating, you want to rate Morocco and think that this East African competition has gotten at least 80%.
All right, let's see how it goes. But today is a D-Day in the African Cup of Nations as we'll see the semi-final fixtures. And first is going to be the one, of course, we're currently looking at this point in time, talking about the game between Senegal and Egypt. Temple, I don't know what you make of this fixture. First, what do you make of the road, for both teams down to the semi-final of the competition?
When you talk about the rules of both teams, a lot is, at this point, is desired. A lot is desired, and it takes a whole lot. The four teams that are playing at trade now, when you look at the way they've gone so far in terms of their qualification, it's not an easy one at all. It's just easy because on paper it looks like they have been able to surpass or surmount their opponents. But then it's always very tricky. Big game like Nigeria, Algeria, it could have gone either side. Big game like Ivory Coast and Egypt, it could have gone either side. So you see, all the teams have their own share of expression, and I tell you, I think that they all truly deserve to be at this stage of the competition.
If you take a look at it, of course, Egypt finished top of their group. That's Group B with 7 points. Struggling with countries like South Africa, Angola, and Zimbabwe. And as well for Senegal as well, they also finished top of their group. That's Group D. Of course, getting out the likes of DR Congo, Benin Republic, and Botswana, out of their way, down to this stage of the competition. And you take a look at the knockout stages and the quarterfinal games as well, have also been very impressive, for both sides. So let's take a look at the game proper at this point in time. How do you see this one panning out? Where do you think the Egyptians will be capitalizing on? What about Senegal? Where do you think they will capitalize on in terms of getting a win in this encounter?
For Egypt and Senegal, that's a very tight one. They share a lot of things in common. Apart from what we have seen in previous games like that of Ivory Coast and the Pharaohs, another game that always catches attention is this particular one. All right. Even if Ivory Coast had qualified and played Senegal, it will still give you the glimpse of what is expected, and not many remember what has transpired before. People want to see what will happen now, and that's the hype. But for me, I think that it's going to be a revenge mission for the Pharaohs. The Pharaohs come into this particular knowing fully well that they need to get to the finals and hope that they win the cup so that Mo Salah can win that coveted trophy that has been eluding him. They have not won since 2010. So when you look at that statistic, there's been a long spell. The highest winners of the African Cup of Nations not winning the AFCON for that years. It tells you the decline and inconsistencies in performance. So they want to do that. It's only in recent times that they have not struggled to qualify for the World Cup. Egypt used to struggle. In fact, they have not gone to the World Cup for a very long time, since the last time they've gone. So you see that gradually they are really building momentum. And then you see that the affairs with the European continent also have really elevated some of the players. You know of a player like Mustafa, who is very beautiful, who plays very good football, came in, substituted came in as a substitute in the last game. That tells you the kind of players that they have that are also very deadly. And they have a beautiful football at home. They have a well-groomed league, Zamalek. They have some. They have good from what's it called, Al Ali. These are teams that shows class when it comes to the African continent. So these are players that are also playing there. For me, I think that the Egyptians are going to hope on not to possess the ball as much as, but no two games are alike, because we saw them suffer a lack of possession against Ivory Coast the last time. But they are very compact. They play like a team. They block together and they move together and they play on the counter. So would that be the tactic that would deploy by a home-based manager like Osam Hassan? I don't think that he has that technicalities. I've not seen much of technicalities, but like many will argue, it's the traditional side. They play traditional football where they go, they work as a block, as a unit, and they get their result. The Senegalese side, in comparison, is a little bit different because they play fluid football with experienced players like Sadio Mane, players like Nicolas Jackson, players like this guy that Gui. You know, you expect that even Koulibaly, the captain of the side, these are players that can get something on the good day. But then I'm still thinking that it's about what you get to play. It can be very cagey. The burden will be more on the Pharaohs as compared to the Teranga Lions of Senegal.
All right, let's see how this one, of course, will go then. Keep our fingers crossed, of course, that one is already ongoing. And we look forward to see, you know, who gets it, you know, at the end of the day. At this point, we'll take a break. When we'll return from this break, we'll talk about the other semi-final clash that's between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Morocco. Stay with us, we'll be right back. You're welcome back, Studio Die, Atlantic Television Network and Sport Extraordinary, and we're bringing you the latest revolving round, the beautiful award up for sport. Time to talk about the big one tonight. That's the game between Super Eagles of Nigeria and Morocco. Tempo really been an impressive one so far, you know, for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. A lot of person praising their performance, you know, in this encounter. But first, what do you make of the run, you know, for the Super Eagles of Nigeria? Did you believe that the Eagles were going to get to this stage of the competition, taking a look at what happened in the World Cup qualifiers?
Me, sincerely, no. No, I didn't give them a chance to go this far. But there's something that works for them in competitions, and I think that that argument that we'll get to truly see the nature of Eric Chell during a competition, because for the first time he will have the complement of players for some time, build them together. You know, there are a lot of internal controversies that are distracting also came on board when they, you know, went for this particular one. So I just knew that if there's one thing that will work is the coach, because before then we have seen how good the coach is. Forget that we lost to Congo on the penalty shootout. We've seen that the coach has stabilized the Super Eagles to a level, and so wanted to see how he's going to go with them in a major competition, and truly it's been defining. Yes, against Tanzania they struggled a little bit, tried to stamp the authority, but like many who knew the Super Eagles, qualifying from the group stage has never been a problem. At least in the last 5 years, you know, or the last two edition, that's not been a problem. The problem is the group stages, I mean the knockout stages, and that was why again with Guavon we played beautiful football just for us to go and play Tunisia, who barely qualified and they lost. And that's why I'm afraid of teams like that. Nigeria's stamp authority when they play teams that are already refined. Look at against a certain Ivory Coast last season that barely qualified, you know, from the group stage to the knockout stage. They went ahead and played in the finals, and Nigeria took them for granted, and we lost. You know, so I think that for the Super Eagles, we're always going to stamp our authority, but can we hold it on? That's why the challenge will be. So I'm thinking that with the way we have gone so far, played Tanzania, played Uganda, played Tunisia. That Tunisia game was a cracker of a game because expectations were high. The Tunisians, they have not lost game prior to that encounter. They've been very formidable. You know, so you think that against Nigeria, they will show class. And Nigeria really live up to expectation. Show that, come on, we have what it takes to beat you, even if they have some defensive lapses. And now the concern was now how to go without conceding goals. They had to go back, tactically work on it, and try to cover the areas where the goals are coming in. You know, discovered that Sanusi has been very lukewarm, brought in Bruno, stamped him on that left fullback, and ensure that he works perfectly with Kevin Bassey. That area has been worked upon tactically. You know, Bright Osayi Samuel has also been very fantastic in pairing. We used to miss Ola Ayina on that wing. Remember the last time out in the land of the elephants, we saw how Ola Ayina was single-handedly, you know, pushing. And we've seen another Bright Osayi now coming in to do the needful in that level. Even when we played the dead rubber game against Tunisia, at that time we were already qualified, we still played with some B teams. And we saw how far the Alebosus of this world came in and delivered. So I think that every player now knows that, come on, if I'm called upon to play, the mandate is very simple. Get the deed done, because that might just be an opportunity for you to show your class. And don't forget too that Eritrea has used almost 90% of the players invited. This is the first time this is happening. And I think that the Super Eagles have they have a very strong bond, regardless of the distractions that we hear outside the camp. Within the camp, no matter what transpires in every match day, even if they go ahead to lose this game today, which I don't see, you know, they will still go back to work themselves out and get to win the third place. We are the highest winners of the third place. So it's two things: get to win and get to the finals. Nigerians want them to win. They know that they want to be part of history. So against Algeria has been very fantastic. Algeria have never lost in the last 2 years since the appointment of Petrovic, the manager of the side. But they came into the party, know what they did, and they single-handedly neutralized the Algerians. If you don't know Kingsley, I listened to your commentary and I listened to what the guests were saying on radio the other day, and I think that yes, they are right. But if you do not know, you think that the Algerians had a very poor game against Nigeria. It's not true. It's just that the Nigerian side had a more pressing style, very difficult, and that's what the Arsenal of this world are doing. That's what Pep Guardiola in his A days does with Barca, with Bayern Munich, with Manchester City. You cannot play a pressing. Very, very dangerous to play, because the pressing allows any player to score. It gives you, they possess the ball, not allow the opponent to get hold of the ball, and then they knock you around. And I mean, the crosses too. I will notice recently that more of the goals coming from the Nigerian side is, is pulling into the goal. So I think that when you have a formidable striker like Victor Osimhen, when you have a talented player like Lukman Ademola, you all want to go front, because at every blunt you get to see the players express themselves. And then if you have full backs that plays like Trent Alexander-Arnold and the plays like Cucurella in Chelsea, you know that you are bound to get something. So all of these are just dynamics, and I owe it to the tactics of Eric Chell, who has brought out the best from these players, allowed them to express themselves, enjoy the game, and then also Nigerians in court. This is the first time in a very long while where we are winning and Nigerians are enjoying the game. What a massive boost for us going into a game against the host side.
All right, so let's see how it goes. Promises to be another exciting one. 9 p.m. of course is the kickoff time of that one, but let's take a look at the team proper, talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. You know, now the other day Eritrea was talking about that Wilfred Ndidi will be highly missed, you know, of course, in today's encounter. And the last game against Algeria, he was yellow-carded, and due to that, so he won't be in this encounter. Would the midfield be the same in the absence of Wilfred Ndidi in this one?
Yeah, for the midfield, I think that we're going to have it. We're going to have a challenge a little, and I say a little because take a look at the diamond formation that has been played by Eric Chell. It works perfectly when you have it's a diagonal diamond, because it gives room for the defense to come to the midfield, and then the center of the play, who links the ball to either Onyeka or whosoever comes in, maybe Chukwueze, or links the ball to either of Iwobi. These are the trios that man the affairs of the midfield, gives them the right to push forward, take it to either Victor Osimhen, take it to Adman Lukman, or pass it truly to Akko Adams, and that style has been working for them. But then you're going to see a man who courtesy of his second yellow card last time out, he will not play. So I'm just thinking, does Frank Onyedika, does he have the mandate, does he have the experience and the flair to play defensively, go down to deep defense? We've seen sometimes when Wilfred Ndidi goes down to the defense so that Basi can go, he covers up.
Yeah.
Are we going to see that? So if we see that pattern, that free-flowing pattern that covers over Basi, because Basi is a man who loves to go out there and express himself. And if you go out there, you need a defensive midfielder like Wilfred Ndidi, who is not a goal specialist, whose attention is not more to go to fall back and cover up till the defenders come back. So these are the dynamics I'm going to see. So I believe that yes, we're going to miss him, but I'm sure they have worked that out in course of their training and tactical display. I want to see how fluent, or maybe Eric Chen might decide to tweak the formation a little bit, because he has said it that he might tweak the formation from 4-2-2 to a different formation altogether. Just because the battle of the midfield cannot be downplayed. You win the midfield, you win the Atlas Lions of Morocco. The North Africans play similar style of football. And that's one thing for them. So the only way to conquer them, conquer the midfield. And I think we have a better, if you have someone like Iwobi, all you need is a strong defensive midfielder who can hold on the ball, like Frank Onyeka. Frank Onyeka, I'm thinking that if I were the coach, I would play Frank Onyeka and maybe Onyedika together. Bring them together. Chelsea used to do that in the days of Jose Mourinho. You bring the force together, we'll get to see Makelele, get to see, John Mikel Obi play together, and then allow the likes of Lampard and Ballack, to possess the ball up front, give it to Drogba, and that does it. So, all of this, I want to really see, this is where we now know tactics. Although Eric Chen has shown prowess in terms of tactical display, I want to see more, and I want to see how far. I don't want to believe that the absence of Wilfred Ndidi, the captain, will be very obvious, because somehow too, Victor Osimhen, who is the vice captain, has shown that, come on, when it comes to leadership, he has shown that too. So maybe we're going to see how far all of this will pan out. But the first 45 minutes will tell a whole lot if truly we're going to miss Wilfred Ndidi in this game.
Let's see how it goes. Of course, Super Eagles of Nigeria getting very much, ready for this one. Wilfred Ndidi won't be in this one. Some Nigerians are worried, and some are asking, will he affect the performance, of the team? We'll just keep our fingers crossed and see what, of course, Eric Chell brings to the table in tonight's encounter for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So far, so good. Super Eagles have been very impressive. They've been the highest scoring side in the African Cup of Nations so far, a total of 14 goals. From what, of course, we've seen so far. And Victor Osimhen, with about 4 goals so far in the competition. Adman Lukman, of course, with 3. And it's really a good one, of course, for Osimhen, especially when you want to take a look at it, tempo. I think he's just 2 points shy of equaling that record of Rashidi Yekini. And possibly we still have about 2 games in this competition. If the Super Eagles of Nigeria win to this game, they play the final. You think he's going to wrap things up, equaling that record of Rashidi Yekini in this AFCON?
Every player called upon to play for the national team have 2 targets. One, to make history for the team, and to make history for himself. Now, if you make the first goal is the general objective. If you achieve the general objective, somehow, in course of achieving the general objective, you too, you achieve your personal goals. Because if you are a consistent call-up in the first 11, and you are displaying, like Victor Osimhen has scored 4 goals now, in course of helping the team to win, you end up scoring goals for yourself. And look at how beautiful the goal he scored against Algeria. That goal is beautiful. I mean, that goal is the kind of goal that he used to score in that club. So he's known for that kind of setup. But one thing I know for sure is that for Victor Osimhen, 2 goals is nothing. Before this competition, we're talking about maybe how many tournaments he's going to play this year for him to get to that number. But look at just in one tournament, he has scored 4 goals, and that has decreased the numbers. And I still think that he can still achieve it. All he needs to do is to be more clinical today. Akol missed glorious chances in the last game. If Victor Osimhen had got those chances, I'm sure he would have nipped those chances in the board, you know, or scored those goals. And for me, if we give him more time, and if he has the belief in him, utilize the chances that come calling. The problem is give him good balls and let the emotions just be calm. It doesn't matter whether they have the first goal or the goal did not come as usual. You also recall that they've had the luxury of scoring first. So these are games that can be very tricky. Whether they score you first and you come back, you know, to winning, it's the different not together. You have to be focused for 90 minutes, and that is what settles. So for Victor Osimhen, I still believe that yes, he can still score goals and surpass that history. Or he might. It don't depend on what he had today, but I don't see him getting tired of scoring goals. I still think that he will score goals in this tournament.
You know, a whole lot, you know, at stake as well for the Super Eagles players like Osimhen, who has really been a very outstanding player for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yes, he's been getting the goals, but you want to take a look at it. There is no tangible, you know, trophy to say when you talk about, you know, him playing for the senior national team, that's the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And I think this is an opportunity for Osimhen to crown it up, at least win an AFCON title for yourself. We're talking about the next World Cup, which of course will be coming up, you know, in the space of 3, 4, 5 years, you know, from now. And Osimhen, talking about that time range, he might be up to 30 something, which we don't know if he'll still play, of course, at the World Cup. So at least this is a huge opportunity for Osimhen, you know, to win the African Cup of Nations. At least have a tangible trophy for yourself to show that you really, really played for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And not just Osimhen. We talk about the likes of even Ademola Lookman, the Akol Dams, the Chukwueze, and the rest of them. These players, they've not won anything. They've not won the African Cup of Nations. So I don't know what you make of it. The bragging rights, you know, the stakes, you know, on ground at this point in time, you know, for these players. Possibly, you think this might be a thing of motivation for them?
Yes, of course. Every of these players want to write their name in gold. This is the golden generation of Nigerian football. So if they don't go to the World Cup, they will showcase the world what they are made of. I tell you that Africa will miss Nigeria at the World Cup because Nigeria would have been the icing on the cake for all the teams that qualified. Because if you talk about squad depth, if you talk about valuation, if you talk about experience of players, Nigeria has all of these. And we talk about the most popular country who would have elevated the hype around the African continent is Nigeria, and they won't be at the World Cup. So expectedly, even in the heart of CAF president, I can tell you that it is a team that he wish that should win this one is Nigeria, because the popularity of this and how it will spell in a long time, you know, comes with the population of Nigeria and the strong penchant that they share when it comes to football activities. So you see, a lot, because when you have every 5 black person and the inside of that 5 you get 2 Nigerians there, you know, in assumption, you just know that we have the population worldwide, the biggest most populated black nation in the world. It's not something that you joke about. But then the players want to win something. The players know that this might just be their glorious chance. Some of the players may not. A lot of things happens during competitions. If you are not, you may have injury, you may have other stuff that may rule you out. You know, so the one before you do everything possible to win it and write your name in gold. Don't forget that the players also receive something by coming second the last time. So if they receive something, that means they can get something bigger from the government. It doesn't matter how far the promises might be, but one day it will be redeemed. So they know all of this, and then this is the money spinning stage. The more you win, the more goals you score, the more money you make as a team, as individuals. So every player knows that history is before them, and they need to put themselves together, emotionally tight, psychologically balanced, and go out there and win that game against Morocco.
Let's talk about Morocco. Of course, it's been a very long time Morocco won the African Cup of Nations, and after Hakimi won the African Best Player, he promised Moroccans that he's going to help them win the AFCON this time around. Of course, it's been up to 50 or more than 50 years, you know, since the last time they won, you know, the African Cup of Nations. Do you think, you know, what do you make of it? You think they are really going to fight hard, looking at the fact that the trophy has eluded them, you know, for so many years?
Yes, they will fight hard. I mean, they have everything going for them. They have their fans that will be in the stands cheering them up. You know, I was telling Siri in the morning that we're going to see a situation where in Nigeria they will do an open door policy. Come and watch for free, you know, and the government will just pay the money to CAF, you know, to allow fans to come and watch for free because, come on, these are games that you don't take for granted. And for Morocco, they will call, that place will be very intimidating today. They will come all out. But the good thing about it is that even other nations are supporting Nigeria because of the brand of football. So and with the level of drum that we hit, the noise will be very echoed. I tell you, yes, they can be very hostile. The North Africans can be very hostile. Morocco, we know they can have this emotion attached to football. It's like their life revolves around it. Don't surprise why they saw what transpired after the game. Some of the players from Algeria, you know, we are intercepting the referees, trying to, you know, make inquiries or even fight them, you know. Yeah. So I think that the passion for football is so high in the North African region, and Morocco is not exempted. So we're going to see a hostile and intimidating environment. But the boys are bigger than this. They know that it's about 11 players in the field of play. Play football, get doings. For Morocco, they have been one of the most consistent side. Since they got to the semi-finals of the World Cup, they have continuously been consistent. Don't forget, before that time, Senegal, we are at the top echelon of African football. But after the World Cup, we saw them ascend highly, and it's been difficult to win Morocco in their home ground because of the level of play. Now, take a look too. Consistently, they've kept a coach in Walid Regragui. Since then, the man has built momentum. He's gathered players. He's looked for players, you know, to come in. So consistently, they've graduated players, and those who have gone out, those who are coming in, they have a system of play that balance with the way the teams play. But in this tournament, they have not shown. Yeah, they played like a host. They've shown glimpses of what they can do gradually. But this is going to be their stainless test because we have not seen them play a top team. You know, I want to see how they're going to battle past Nigeria. I want to see the tactics that will be deployed by Walid. I want to see how the players, yes, they have Naid Agad, who plays for Marseille. They have Hakimi. They have certain El Kami. These are top players, you know, so Nigeria needs to be wary of these players. Like Hakimi has a way of going forward and causing more goals. So, in all of this, I think that they will come on out. They have the big names, no doubt. They have Saibari. One player who has been fantastic, unfortunately has not been able to score goals. He scored it in the last game, you know. So obviously you get to see them come all out against Nigeria. If our defense can hold their own, our midfield balance their game, I think that our forward have what it takes to fight them. So Morocco to be a very strong test against Nigeria today.
All right, let's see how it goes tonight to see if Morocco can get this one as well. And so many persons have talked about the central referee. Of course, we understand it from Ghana. Some persons are saying might possibly influence the game. Well, let's see how it goes. Let's start away from the AFCON as we bring you some results as Anthony Semenyo made himself an instant Manchester City hero as Pep Guardiola men took a giant stride towards the League Cup final with the 2 goals to the win at Newcastle. Of course, Semenyo putting up a very impressive stats down there at Manchester City. But because of time, let's talk about tonight's fixtures. A fixture between Chelsea and Arsenal Football Club. Tempo, I don't know what you make of that semi-final clash in the Carabao Cup. You think Arsenal, of course, can continue the impressive run against Chelsea?
No, don't two games are alike. It will not be as easy as we are seeing it on paper, no matter how good Arsenal have been. I think that Chelsea's manager, Resino, will want to show some glimpse of tactics. Yes, he lost the first game when he came in. Would he want to lose this one again? I don't think that will be very possible. The good thing about this game is that it's a 2-legged encounter, so you have to be very careful of how you play the first game so that determines the result you get to see at the end of the second game. So for us now, they are basking the euphoria. Saliba may not be there. Trossard may not be there, but do not worry. Arsenal have shown consistency. They've shown that they have the squad depth to go all out in almost all the games, all the leagues they play. And as Teta, when you have a masterclass manager like a Teta, come on, you can go and sleep. But then, like I said, it's a derby game. It's not the kind of game that, no, it's a derby game, and derby games are always unpredictable. So let's see what Chelsea will have to come up with tonight.
Let's see what Chelsea will have to come up with tonight. Of course, no longer knew that Manchester United have appointed their former player, talking about Michael Carrick as their caretaker head coach until the end of the season. And we'll see what, of course, he brings to the table at the end of the day. We'll call it a wrap at this point on the show. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. on Sports Talk to bring you the results of the semi-final fixtures in the African Cup of Nations. Special thanks to Temple for doing justice on the show. And for those of you watching, we really do appreciate. So you can go down to our different social media handle, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as YouTube. The conversation continues right there. My name is Kingsley Mado. Thanks for watching.